So which fan is better, this old cranky fan or the new pretty boy fan? Anyways, today I do the legwork for you so you don't have to. I'm Lou Trottier and this is Project 308. So part of the reason why I put the Ferrari front end back together is because I need to take that hoist and put it back into service. It's gotten a little busier here and I need to move things around. The lift that was here has moved back there and the Ferrari is coming over here, closer to Lou's area over there. Welcome, thanks for joining me. And today we are going to be dealing with my cooling fans. I really went in deep on this one. Didn't mean to, just kind of happened that way. So this is the stock fan right here. And I've definitely got one dead fan. They can be rebuilt, but this one's just not coming apart. The brushes are completely worn out on this one, and the fan itself is not coming off the shaft. So I was reading on the Ferrari chat forum that there's been some guys who have used these Hayden 3680 fans. They're interchangeable. They may not necessarily push more CFM than the other ones. I'm going to investigate that in a minute. So I'm hoping to use the existing body off the old fan and create a 3D printed template here. Maybe I'll make it out of metal after, and then mount this directly to here. With that, I can sort of keep this fairly stock looking. Just for interest sake, I'd like to actually do a comparison to see which one moves more air. Welcome, Mark. I'm going to do an experiment and I want you to tell me which one produces more air. All right. Look at the camera and say hi, Mark, the new guy. So you're gonna close your eyes and I'm gonna blow that fan at you, and then I'm gonna randomize it, so you don't know which one is which. Okay, so close your eyes. Okay. All right, close them up. Ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Close them up. You don't know which one it is. You don't know which one it is. Keep them closed. No cheating, or the validity of my test will be failed. You got a good feel for that? All right. Fan number one. Ready? Here's fan number two. About the same distance.
Okay.
Which one had more oomph?
I'll say number two.
Say this one. Okay. All right. You feel that one? All right. Which one had more airflow?
Second one.
Second one. All right.
Yeah.
So far, I've got one vote for old fan. I've got one vote for new fan.
What fan am I a fan of?
What fan you're a fan of? Okay, that's okay. Ready? Here's fan number one.
Okay.
All right.
Fan number one.
Fan number one.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going to call in the big gun, Terry. See what he says. That was fan number one. This one. So the question becomes, is it more important, because this sits far away from the rad, but I can put this one right up against the rad. This one? Even though this fan is producing more CFM, how much of it is actually getting through the rad will depend on its proximity to the rad and its ability for air not to escape out the side. And that's why we have shrouds on everything. The shroud helps to hold the air from going sideways and forces more through. So from my previous experiment, we know that this fan simply has a higher standing CFM. That means the air it's pushing at a no restriction basis is higher. If I look at the specifications on this fan, its standing CFM is 800, and then when it puts it through a rad, it's 650-ish. So while I am not a man of science, I like to think of myself as a man of common sense. So before I go and spend all the time designing a new fan mounting bracket for this car, I want to make sure that my upgraded fans are actually an upgrade. So I'm going to conduct an experiment for a second. I'm going to place each fan into its prospective spot, and I'm going to see what kind of pattern I get, if I get an even pattern with the shrouded fan, or if the original fan just pushes more air in general. All right, so we have the original fan reinstalled. This is semi-scientific test number 1. We've got decent right here, very little over to the edge. You can feel a lot of air up here escaping. That's how much air we have. Okay, fan number 2 is in place right now. I'm going to have to hold this one in. And we've got no air escaping through the top here at all.
So now that you can see them on the same screen, what do you think? I mean, I know what I think, but you're the important one here, so why don't you tell me what you think? And let's see if we're both on the same page.
Well, I don't know about you, but I am convinced that this fan is an upgrade. However, I do not like or want to use this original system. Let's make something better. All right, 2 new fans. I've disassembled one to use as a jig, so to speak, to figure out a bolt circle. I have 3 available spots. I actually have 4, but I'm not going to use that one. I got 1, 2, 3. I was trying various different methods to calculate the bolt circle. That was the first one. It was a bit too small. This was my second attempt. It's a bit too big. And then my third one right here seems to be pretty much dead on, meaning that radius of this bolt circle is 57.5 millimeters. Going to throw those 2 out. Going to continue on with making a custom mounting system.
Now, I'm not sure if you're keeping track, but that's a total of 5 pieces I 3D printed in order to create the proper size template. Why all the effort? Well, it's far easier to get it right in plastic than get it wrong in metal. I created this final 3D printed part just so I could use it as a drill template. Why, you may ask? Because these 3mm holes are too big for the plasma torch to kind of get on the inside and cut out, so I have to do them by hand. Now, if you're paying attention, you may have seen something new in the background in this shot.
Okay, let's find out what the first prize is on The Price is Right.
All right, crew, it's a new plasma TV and a new Xbox system. Okay, you know what? A new
And just like that, I feel like I won a prize because my friend Ken, who always reads the comments, saw you guys giving me a hard time about a vise, so he gave me one that had been sitting in his basement for quite some time.
I was going to use the body of the original fan, but I decided that was sort of like reinventing the wheel. So we're going to take a piece of 3-inch exhaust tubing, which is the same size as that, go figure. Been making that fit there. Going to slice off about 5 inches off this pipe and then put it in the lathe and just make it purdy. this machine down to an accuracy of less than half a mil now. That's impressive. Wow. So I'm going to weld that onto there, and then I'm going to weld that onto there.
And I'm sorry to all you machinists out there, because I know this is not the proper way to use a lathe, but hey, I'm an amateur.
Alright, so it's looking really good. Both of them fit in nicely. Now, these are going to sit here. I've got to drill a hole right here. And then I'm going to powder coat these and start assembling them. Alright, so I forgot to accommodate for these initial, hang on, these screw holes here when I designed the first piece. But a little bit of die grinder action fixes things right up. That's gonna go there. Okay, so it's going to go there. Sounds like I need to change the battery. Yes. So far, so good. If I'm right, I'm approximately 3/4 of the way through this video right now, and you're thinking to yourself, what else could I do to make this even more exciting? Wasn't this enough? Well, it's not. I've got to go over to the car and I've got to mount them now, and the mounting points on the car are not correct for this particular setup. So before I go grinding on my car, I need to prep it.
You know, I've been asking Terry to order this paint protector film for months and months, and always there's something wrong, it doesn't come in, and finally I just went and ordered it myself, and now I have it. I wasn't so worried about it when the car was sitting in the hoist. I kept it way up in the air so nobody could really bump into it. But now that it's down here on the floor in a bit of a busier place, I gotta keep the moving blankets on it. But the moving blankets aren't the softest things in the world, and I don't want them to scratch the paint. So this is just an extra layer of protection. That is okay there, but if that's the center point on there, you can see I've got to go way up here in order to reuse this bracket in its current location. So while it's not off that far in that location, it's too high. So somehow I'm going to have to bring this down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off.
I'm going to reuse this part right here on both sides, and I'm going to create a new bracket assembly here in order to bring this down to get this fan centered on this side of the rad, and then this fan on this side of the rad. And these marks right here are from where I've been experimenting before I put this all back together to try and figure out if there was going to be any overlap between the sides, and there is. So I've got to move that fan that way a bit and that fan that way a bit. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm the kind of guy who gets these great ideas in my head, and then I say that's only going to take a few hours, and then a few days later I'm still working on it. And while I'm sure this is going to work out exceptionally well, it has been a massive time commitment. So I need to make a bracket, comes down 30 millimeters by 25.
Oops. Simple math. Not my strong suit, apparently. Back to the plasma table for the third time, because you know what? 3-in-1 tools, the brake, bender, and shear, they're pretty much useless for anything above 18 gauge metal. Don't waste your money on them.
That's hot, dude. Didn't think that would be that hot. Oh, it's gonna be close.
Another reason why I'm going through all this effort is because if I ever put the air conditioning back in this car, I need to be able to push these fans out a little bit. Hence the reason why I'm sticking with this system. Well, look at those clips. Those are the ones from last episode. I reprinted them in red ABS. They look pretty sharp.
Okay, here we are. We're about to do the test. Let's see if it works. Look at that, yeah!
To say I'm happy with the way this turned out, well, that's an understatement. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you at the next episode.